It's 4 games with the Tampa Bay Rays. Scott Kazmir will take the mound. The Astros look to continue their winning ways. Coming up next on Root Sports. From Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, the Astros open a 4-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby along with Bart Ennis to see how this 4-game series goes. Earlier in July, in fact, right before the All-Star break, the Rays swept the Astros at St. Petersburg, Ash.
Some of the early goings of the Astros struggles on the road. Yeah, Tampa Bay played quite well in that series.
So now, after the Astros won yesterday, our Toyota drive to the playoffs will show you that they gained a game. They are now 3.5 games in front of second place, Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah, I don't know that you say that's comfy, but it's gotten better over the last few days. Texas Rangers are playing good baseball, and they laid it on Tampa Bay over the last 4 days. They're 4 games back. Kansas City running away in the Central. Yankees and Blue Jays, along with the Orioles, seem to have a good race going in the East. The wild card says Blue Jays, Baltimore, Angels, maybe anybody of that list there of 6 teams could find their way in as a wild card.
And Tampa Bay certainly with hopes, just 2.5 back in that wild card spot, despite being swept by the Rangers. Now, the former Ray, Scott Kazmir, will go up against his former club tonight.
And Scott Kazmir goes out there having pitched very well in 4 starts for the Astros. Despite having lost his last couple, he's got no run support in those games. Scott Kazmir has pitched very well with the fastball change, occasional breaking ball, and typically spots it quite well. Scott Kazmir is second in the league in ERA at 2.12, second in batting average against at 2.10, and would like to continue his trend pitching well right here at Minute Maid Park.
His mound opponent is quite a surprise for Tampa Bay. Erasmo Ramirez, a 9-game winner who beat the Astros in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, he's really been a guy that's picked up some run support to help him out this year. He's pitched well for Tampa Bay. And a guy who doesn't have a large track record against the Astros. 2-1, I believe, lifetime against Houston. But you can see some of the numbers. He's held down the hits against him, doesn't walk many, not a big strikeout guy. And so the Astros should have a chance to put the ball in play.
Coming up next, Carlos Correa is on a path to AL Rookie of the Year, but he may be called up to NRG Stadium this fall. Bart Ennis will explain next.
That they'll have another excited, loud crowd today. The crowds were outstanding all weekend long against the Detroit Tigers. Now Tampa Bay comes in here, and they're hoping for more excitement here at Minute Maid Park tonight. It's going to be hard to beat the excitement we had in here yesterday as the Astros beat the Tigers 6-5, winning it in their final at-bat. The 11th time this season they've been able to do that. Let's set it up for you. Game tied 5-all. And Jake Marisnick, who was in desperate need of something good offensively, strokes a triple to right center with 2 outs. He had worked the count to 3-2 before getting that big swing to set up Jose Altuve. First pitch swing, and he loves to do that, and he was successful with it once again. Altuve hitting .350 this year with runners in scoring position, and then he was just trying to avoid the wave of big bodies that came charging at him out of that dugout. Carlos Correa finally got to him and brought him to the ground, and Jose said afterward, man, Carlos Correa could play for the Texans if they wanted him. Correa, after hearing that, gave us the Geico quote of the day.
You know, I can play the sports. I don't mind that, you know. But I don't think the Astros will be really happy with that. So,
you ever play football?
I actually play, you know, football in Puerto Rico, but it's not, you know, it's not big in Puerto Rico. But I just did it for fun. But you know, if the Texans offer me something, I would like to try it out.
And A.J. Hinch heard those comments. He said, well, the Texans can look at Carlos Correa all they want on Root Sports, but that is as close as they're allowed to get to my star shortstop. So it's on to this series now against the Rays, and the Astros owe them some payback. We'll come back in just a moment and give you the starting lineups and first pitch when Root Sports comes back with Astros baseball in just a moment.
Is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. It's another extremely hot day outside, but inside very comfortable as the Astros and Rays settle in. Of course, the Rays play indoor baseball at the Trop in St. Petersburg. They have come from a very hot Arlington, Texas, where they were swept by the Rangers in that 3-game series. And as the Astros take the field, the Rays have really knocked off some first-place clubs. They are 18-12 this season when playing teams in first. And the Astros saw what they could do when they were swept in that 3-game series, as we mentioned earlier, at Tampa Bay's home. Now, that's 7 straight series wins for the Rays over the Astros. And coming from the Rays, Scott Kazmir, one of their best pitchers in history. He put up some tremendous seasons for them, Ash.
And having some of the best numbers in all of the American League this year. Second in ERA, second in batting average against. And since he's joined the Astros, an ERA of 1.04. So he's been dynamic, and yet the Astros last couple of starts having a tough time supplying any run support for Scott Kazmir. But he'll take it out tonight against his former teammates.
Brandon Guyer is the leadoff man. He's in right field. Desmond Jennings in left. Devin Longoria at third. Logan Forsythe is DHing tonight. The shortstop is a red-hot Asdrubal Cabrera with Tim Beckham at second base. Daniel Nava at first. Kevin Kiermaier in center field, one of the top defensive outfielders in the game. And Kurt Casale is the catcher.
Defensively for the Astros tonight in the outfield, left to right, Preston Tucker, Carlos Gomez, and Colby Rasmus. Left side of the infield, Jed Lowry and Carlos Correa. On the right, it's Jose Altuve and Luis Valbuena. Jason Castro gets the start behind the dish.
Kazmir, with that second best ERA in the American League, goes to work. Brandon Guyer steps up. Guyer's on a 5-game hitting streak. Guyer knocked a home run against the Astros in July. And there's ball one to it. Guyer has a .362 on base average to go with those numbers you can see. Kazmir moves it inside again, and it's 2-0 to Guyer. Guyer, 29 years old, from Westchester, PA. He went to the University of Virginia. Drafted in the 5th round in 07. Tampa Bay got him in a trade for Matt Garza. Grounds that one foul, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Kazmir lost 3-1 at San Francisco, giving up 2 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings. But in his 4 starts as an Astro, his ERA is 1.04. Fastball sails wide of the plate. That makes it 3-1 for Scott Kazmir, who's shooting for career win number 98. Foul back, and it's a full count. The Rays have really been hitting well. They're averaging 5 runs per game in the month of August while hitting .302. 106 pitches last time out for Kazmir. His home debut gave him an ERA of 0. That was the game against the Angels here. He comes back to strike out Guyer.
After falling behind 3-1, just came back with fastball after fastball at that point. The final one at 91 slips on by. Here's the strike zone, brought to you by MD Anderson. And you can see that final pitch right through the gut of the plate, and yet somehow evading the bat.
Desmond Jennings is the batter. Jennings hits one foul and out of play. There's strike one on the 28-year-old outfielder from Birmingham, Alabama. Jennings hasn't been able to play much this year because of an injury. He was on the 60-day disabled list. Had left knee bursitis. But he's gone 5 for 10 since he came off the DL. His first game back was Friday at Texas. That's in over the corner, and Joe West, the home plate umpire, rings it up for a strike. No balls, 2 strikes. Jennings hit .244 for the Rays last year. It's 1-2. The Rays just a game under 500. They're 6.5 games out in 4th place in the AL East. 7-6 in the month of August. Off the plate, and it's 2-2. Kazmir said he threw more curveballs last time out than he had in a while in a game.
Felt like in watching him, he just never commanded the changeup, so maybe flipping the roles of the 2 pitches.
Leads the majors in ERA in his last 11 starts. Bouncer on the shift brings Altuve in. Throwing on the run, 2 outs. Evan Longoria will be next. He has loved to hit in this ballpark to the tune of, well, a very, very fine batting average in this park over the course of his career. 23 runs batted in 24 games overall against Houston, 17 in 11 games at Minute Maid Park, and he's 2 for 10 with a homer off Kazmir. That's strike one to Longoria. 29 years old from Long Beach State. First round pick in 06, the third player drafted that year. Last year he drove in 91. It's 1-1. Longoria is the club's all-time leader in homers, doubles, extra base hits, runs batted in. 2 balls and a strike to him. He's hit .348 in 11 games at Minute Maid Park. 16 hits and 46 at bats. Bounced, and the shift is shaded the other way. Longoria gets a ground ball single into right center.
It's one of the difficulties when you've got a pitcher on the hill like Scott Kazmir, who likes to utilize the outside corner on the right-hand hitters. That shift can be burned. You can see on that pitch, it's about all Longo could do.
He's aboard for Logan Forsythe, who's played a lot of second base this year, DHing tonight. .278, 13 homers, 51 runs batted in for the 28-year-old from Memphis. Altuve is playing him over on the first base side of second. A couple of steps. He looks at ball one. Forsythe had a 2-hit game when the Astros were at Tampa Bay back on July 11th. He fouls it back, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Forsythe has seen more action this year as far as being in the starting lineup than in any year in his big league career. He was with the Padres when he came up, first to the big leagues in 2011, joining Tampa Bay last year in a trade. It's 2 balls and a strike. Scott Kazmir with Tampa Bay from 04 through 09 was 55 and 44 with a 3.92 ERA. He led the American League in strikeouts in 07 with 239.
Apparently that pitch called high. I would say here in the first inning it appears to be another one, at least early on, where the changeup is not handled or commanded real well, and you can see that pitch is in the strike zone.
That's in for strike 2, full count, and Longoria will take off on the next pitch. Valbuena's going to move behind him at first.
Quite a handicap when Scott Kazmir doesn't have the change to back up that fastball.
Kazmir is facing the Rays for the second time this season. When he was with Oakland, he faced them May 22nd. Foul back as Drupal Cabrera's on deck. Rays got off to a very good start this season. And it looked as if they might qualify as one of those big surprise teams. They still could. Foul back. And the count hangs at 3-2 on Forsythe. They were 12 and 10 in the month of April and then moved into first place in May. They broke into the top spot in the AL East May 22nd and then promptly lost 6 in a row. At the end of June, they were tied for first, but then July found them moving 8 games back. Runner going, and that's a walk. 2 men on for Cabrera. Cabrera is about as hot as anybody in baseball right now. He's on a 5-game hitting streak, 9 for his last 18. He's third with runners in scoring position in the American League, 359. And the switch hitting shortstop begins the night with a modest 265, but this month, 480.
A switch hitter, and he's hit a couple of home runs recently batting right-handed. .298 right for the season for Cabrera, the former Cleveland Indian.
Just 1 for 15 though lifetime against Kazmir.
That's ball one. Cabrera was not viewed as the everyday shortstop when Tampa Bay went to spring training this year, but he certainly took hold of that position, and he's played well at that position as well as in the batter's box this season. He fouls it away, 1-1. In addition to those glittering numbers he's been sporting recently, he's a .344 lifetime hitter against the Astros. But as you see, Kazmir has neutralized him in the past. He had a big year for Cleveland in 2011 with 25 homers, 92 runs batted in. It's 2 balls and a strike for Kazmir. Houston born, Cy Falls High School in Northwest Houston, and a first-round pick.
Without seeing the grip, his changeup and curveball, you almost can't tell the difference between the two. You have to see kind of the slow-mo of the ball coming out of the hand and see what grip he's employing.
Strike 2 on Cabrera. They went fishing.
Now that appeared to be the breaking ball. Kind of a, it's hard to call it a curveball, but a slurve of some sort at 80 miles an hour.
Big pitch coming here. Otherwise, if it's ball 3 for Kazmir, the runners would be going on that next offering. Out to center field, shallow, and Gomez will not be able to make the catch. A run scoring. He fires to the plate, and it's 1-0 Rays. Cabrera takes his hitting streak to 6 games. He drives in his 30th and gives the Rays a 2-out rally that nets them the lead.
Ball's in the air a good amount of time. See what this looks like coming off the bat. Pitch quite hittable, but look at that ball coming off the bat, and it looked like a little bit of a late break by Gomez in center field, and that's costly here in the first.
Rays lead it. Now they look for more with Tim Beckham. Beckham was drafted as a shortstop. First overall pick. There's a pickoff throw at second. Forsythe back in on that hard throw to Altuve, who was handcuffed a little bit by where that ball was delivered. It was right on the base.
That infielder doesn't want that throw down at the base. They want it up a little bit where they can handle it.
Beckham is 25 now. He fouls it back. It looked for a while as if he might be a complete washout as that first overall pick in 08. Finally reached the big leagues 5 years later for just 7 at-bats with Tampa Bay in 2013. And then last year he had an injury and was at AAA Durham. Beckham now has moved to second base, where he's hit .228 so far this season. On the breaking pitch, it's 0-2 to Beckham.
That might have been the change. Again, tough to tell. Change from breaking ball on Scott Kazmir, but in either case, he's having a tough time spotting it. Let's see how this comes out of the hand. Looks like the change coming out of the hand.
Beckham is in his 3rd stint with the big league Rays this year. Puts it in the air, and it goes way back into left field. They're getting up in the Landry's Crawford boxes, and the Rays get a big 3-run bomb from Tim Beckham. It's 4-0 Tampa Bay. Home run number 6 for Beckham. He now has 25 runs batted in.
really tough to tell as the off-speed pitch gets rammed to left field and finds those Crawford boxes. But was the hit by Cabrera possibly catchable in center field? That's the one that sets up the inning. And that was our look at the Super Bowl replay, brought to you by Mattress Firm.
Daniel Nava, formerly with the Boston Red Sox, looks at strike one. Nava at 158 has no homers, 7 runs batted in. He's playing first base tonight. He was claimed off waivers August 5th. Nava started the bat, checked the swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kiermaier on deck. The Rays are 10th in homers in the American League. The Beckham drive was number 110 of the year for them. Kazmir surrendering his 11th home run in 136 innings. That's line into center field. Another 2-strike hit. Beckham delivered on an 0-2 count, and now Nava on a 1-2 pitch hits it up the middle.
Now some balls are being hit hard here against Scott Kazmir. Tried to become Mike Hampton, grabbing this line drive going by a bit late.
Kazmir lost his last 2 starts, but he's given up a total of 3 earned runs in those games in 11 1/3 innings. So he really has not been hit hard like this. This is his 5th start with the Astros. His first 2 starts brought a total of 14 2/3 shutout innings. Won that first start at Kansas City 4-0, and then he got a no decision here in a game the Astros won over the Angels 3-0. Kevin Kiermaier is next, with the infield shifted around, playing him to pull. Strike 1 to Kiermaier. 249, 5 homers, 27 runs batted in for the defensive whiz. He had 3 hits yesterday at Texas. That tied his season high. Chases there, and it's 0-2 on Kiermaier. Last 13 games, he's hit 298. Several of these Rays hitters have really broken out in the last couple of weeks or so. But they are next to last in runs scored in the American League coming into this game. And a strikeout of Kiermaier ends it, but 8 men come to the plate. 4 of them score on 4 hits with a man left. Tampa Bay 4, Houston coming up with Altuve, Tucker, and Correa. by Southwest Airlines. Yesterday's game winner came from today's leadoff man, Jose Altuve, at second base. Preston Tucker in left field, followed by shortstop Carlos Correa. Jed Lowry's back at third base after a rest yesterday. Carlos Gomez in center field, Colby Rasmus in right, Evan Gattis the DH, Luis Valbuena at first base, Jason Castro the catcher.
On the mound for Tampa Bay, right-hander Erasmo Ramirez, 2-1 lifetime in 3 starts, 4 games overall against the Astros. And you can see he split time between the bullpen and starting. 18 starts for Tampa Bay. Had a very nice season. ERA right about 3.5 as he goes 9-4 and a good whip. A couple of straight shutout, or 12 straight shutout innings now. So he's been pitching very well coming in.
Last time out, he beat Atlanta with 7 of those shutout innings, 2-0 on Tuesday. Jose Altuve is on a 3-game hitting streak. He had 3 hits, the game-winning RBI yesterday, and the last of the night. There's strike 1 to Altuve, now 8th in the league in batting average at .302, with 9 homers, 50 runs batted in, and 136 hits, ranking him in a tie for 6th. Ramirez, formerly with Seattle, throws ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. The trade that brought him to Tampa Bay, very fortuitous for the Rays because he's won 9 and lost 4, and he's really settled into this rotation quite nicely after, as you said, opening in the bullpen.
Sometimes a guy will just find one side there, bullpen or starting, that works better for him, and it would appear right now for Tampa Bay he's quite happy starting.
Altuve looks at it, and it's a 3-ball, 1 strike count for Ramirez. Erasmo, 25 years old. He's from Rivas, Nicaragua. He gets it over the corner. And now it's a 3-2 count for Altuve, who has walked 25 times.
Continues to try to spot down and away toward the corner.
Altuve puts it in the air and giving Chase Casale the catcher, but this is back out of play. Somebody made a fine catch. Outstanding catch down there.
Just showing off. Doesn't even bother bringing the glove. Got it all on Super 8 right here.
Yep. Good play. Altuve is 3 for 10 against Ramirez. This one out to left center field and waiting for it, Jennings. 1 out for Ramirez.
Defensively for Tampa Bay tonight, you just saw him, Desmond Jennings in left, Kevin Kiermaier with some speed in center, Brandon Guyer in right. Left side of the infield, the slick Evan Longoria as Drupal Cabrera, who came up with a big hit. Tim Beckham has the home run already. Daniel Nava at first base, and Kurt Casale behind the plate.
Preston Tucker steps up. Tucker takes, and there he's strike 1 to the rookie with 12 homers, 30 runs batted in, and a .254 batting average. He went 1 for 9, including a homer in that Tigers series. The homer was a big one in the bottom of the 9th inning Saturday to tie the game. And it came off a 100-mile-per-hour pitch from Bruce Rondon. That's some bat speed. Ramirez takes care of out number 2. And Correa will be coming up.
Keuchel's Corner is a dedicated section for fans to show their support for our bearded pitcher, Dallas Keuchel. Every time he takes the mound, you get a ticket, beard, and a Keuchel's Corner Go Beard or Go Home t-shirt for this Wednesday's game versus the Rays. For more information, visit Astros.com/Keuchel's Corner or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Carlos Correa has been walking quite often in the last few games. There's strike 1 to him. He has 14 homers, 38 runs batted in to garner that kind of respect. A .537 slugging percentage to go with his .286 batting average, and that has led to some walks. It's 1-1. He's reached base in 9 of his last 13 plate appearances. Went 3 for 7 with an RBI against the Tigers over the weekend. Bouncer up the middle and on through for a clean single for Carlos Correa.
He's so solid. Back up the middle to right field. He can yank it to left field with authority and great power. And if they give awards on poise points, he is going to win hands down. There are hits back up the middle.
Jed Lowry might look for one of those himself, although the shift is on. So the shortstop Cabrera's not too far from being right behind second on Jed, who has a 3-game hitting streak. He goes to left field with this one. Jennings waiting for it. No runs, a hit, and a man left. 4-0 Tampa Bay after 1. Game, it's brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, that was a rough start for Kazmir, even though he retired the first 2. Longoria hit a ground ball single the opposite way against the shift, then a four-side walk set it up for Asdrubal Cabrera to drop an RBI single in front of Carlos Gomez. Then Beckham followed with a 3-run homer. And now it's Curt Casali, the number 9 hitter, leading it off in the 2nd inning. Astros are shifting around, playing him to pull. 222, 8 homers, 14 runs batted in for Casali. Strike 1. Casali, 26 years old, from Walnut Creek, California, went to Vanderbilt. Detroit drafted him in the 10th round in 2011. Traded him to Tampa Bay for Kyle Lobstein. Kazmir delivers strike 2. Casali, with 7 of his last 11 hits being home runs, has had some thump lately. One ball, 2 strikes. Opponents have now outscored the Astros for the season in the first inning, 77-59. That's a strikeout looking. That's number 3 for Kazmir.
Sweeping that breaking ball down and in. And maybe that's where he has to turn right now. Would appear the changeup isn't overly sharp. That was an unfortunate first inning, I felt, on Scott, despite some balls being hit sharply.
Brendan Guyer struck out, leading off the game. Lowry plays him even up with the bag. He flares it out of play. Strike 1. Yeah, it really mushroomed on Scott. And then the big blow, Beckham's 3-run homer, made it a thunderous first for Tampa Bay. Lowry can't get it. Correa to his right, throwing and getting it back to Valbuena. With a good play for out number 2.
Slick. Yeah, that's nice. And I think for Carlos Correa, he's had the last little slowly hit ball in his direction with a speedster going down the line that he doesn't at least charge. Shortstops are really good athletes, and you'll find a lot of guys can make that play, but as a big guy, he's not going to have any problems that otherwise might show up for big guys there.
Desmond Jennings fouls it. There's strike 1. He bounced out to Altuve in the first inning. Twins lead the Yankees 4-3 in the bottom of the 3rd. With Kyle Gibson on the mound at Yankee Stadium. 0-2. Miguel Sano at his 8th home run. Yankees starter Mitchell was gone after an inning and 2/3 tonight. Brian McCann hit his 21st. Jennings is down on strikes. Number 4 for Kazmir. 4-0 Rays.
Run first. They lead at 4-0 as we move to the bottom of the 2nd, and it's time to play Name That Astro, brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Here are your clues. He played 1 season with the Astros, but he was a 3rd generation of a family to play Major League Baseball. So think that over. Shoot us a tweet if you know who it is. We'll come back a little later in the ballgame and let you know the identity of this mystery Astro. Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Bart. Carlos Gomez leads it off. 4-0 Tampa Bay. That's strike 1 for Erasmo Ramirez. Gomez still trying to settle in a Houston uniform. 0 for his last 17. For the season, 249, 183 with the Astros. He has 1 hit in his last 32 at bats. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's swinging very, very hard. Bunting. That'll get him a hit. And in the 0 for 17.
Andy Hope light the fire once again. Not that he's not given his very best. I think he's trying to give more than his very best. Maybe a smart way to get things going.
Excellent way to do that.
Watched him take a lot of batting practice where it seems to be Jack City all the time.
Well, he can definitely bunt. Probably wanted to make that resounding splash with his new club by delivering extra base hits, but that's a start. He's 4 for 4 in steals with the Astros. Colby Rasmus might have another Colby Jack in him. His last 4 hits have been homers. There is strike one. 17 for the season with 44 driven in and a .239 average. And Colby delivered 2 bombs yesterday against the lefty Matt Boyd from Detroit, going 2 for 4. It's 1-1. So with Colby at .475 slugging percentage for the season, getting his bat into this lineup, he would certainly be welcome to do more of that. He's 2 for 5 with a homer in his career against Ramirez. Out to the pitcher. Ramirez will throw him out. Gomez to second base. 1 down. Gomez took a big turn there.
This Friday, be sure to check out Craig Biggio, Journey to Cooperstown. Kevin Eschenfelder sat down with Craig to discuss his journey to the Hall of Fame.
That might take a while to cover a 20-year journey.
Well, it took a few years to accomplish the Hall of Fame career, so yeah, maybe so.
Should be a good show. Evan Gattis has a runner at second now with 1 out as he steps up with 60 runs batted in, leading the club. Shift is on. Way outside, ball 1. Gattis went 1 for 10 in the Detroit series. It's a battle this series of the triples leaders in the American League. Kevin Kiermaier leads with 11. Evan Gattis has 9. Tied for second.
Evan Gattis says he's not going to confuse anybody by going out and stealing bags now.
1-1. Well, he holds that rare distinction with the 9 triples and no steals. It's been a while since somebody has done that through a full season. So people are starting to speculate now. It would be the first time since 1980, if he doesn't steal a base, that somebody's had that many triples and no steals. That might sneak through. Nope. Second baseman Beckham gets there, throws it away though, and the run will score. It's now 4-1.
Well, this is something that oftentimes is required when you give up some runs early in a ball game. You got to start pecking away. And not an easy play at second base. Maybe the threat of the speed of Gattis set up this poor throw.
It's a hit and an error. And then the error by Beckham, his 6th of the year, allows Gomez to score. So no RBI, but nonetheless, Gattis put the ball in play. Something good happened. See, now the skipper, Kevin Cash, has come out to discuss things with the first base umpire, Clint Fagan. The first baseman, Nava, tagged Gattis when he was returning to first. So it might be about that overrun of the base. Did he turn towards second? Which would have indicated that they could tag him out before he got back to first. When the umpire ruled no, he gave a safe sign.
Now, if a guy doesn't turn and intentionally take a step towards second, there is no call. And there's nothing you could call on that one.
No, he did not turn towards second base.
Not a bit.
He's trying to avoid Nava, so he did alter his route a little bit. So Kevin Cash, former Astros catcher, rookie skipper for Tampa Bay, goes back to the bench. There's the tag, but to no avail, and the safe sign by Clint Fagan.
And that is a smart play to go ahead and apply the tag to see if you get a call.
It's a freebie, Ash.
It is that.
Luis Valbuena with 21 homers looks out at a shift. Valbuena takes, and there's ball 1 to the Astros' first sacker. He's driven in 43 with a .213 batting average. Valbuena went 1 for 4 in the Tigers series. In his last 13 games, he's been a .351 hitter with a .996 OPS. Smacks one to center field. Kiermaier with the grab. 2 outs. Pretty well hit by Valbuena.
Tampa Bay defensively there in the outfield set up to take away that extra base hit as opposed to playing shallow and trying to take away singles.
Jason Castro will follow. Castro with 10 homers, 29 runs batted in, checks in at .211 tonight. His last 15 games, he's hit .250. Altuve's on deck in a 4-1 game in the second. That's strike one. The Rangers have Cole Hamels back on the mound. He missed a start with a hamstring strain. And they lead it 1-0 at home over Seattle in the bottom of the third against Taijuan Walker. Hamels has struck out 4 in 3 innings. 0-2. The Rangers now, as you pointed out earlier when we looked at the standings, are even in the loss column with the Angels with 57. They've played one fewer game than the Angels. The Angels will be home later tonight against the White Sox.
If the Rangers get starting pitching, all pitching, their bullpen has had some real letdowns this year as well. Their offense is good enough to make something happen.
1-2 to Castro. Texas has a 4-game winning streak while the Angels have lost 3 in a row, and that's tightened things up in the AL West, Ash.
I think the reemergence of Adrian Beltre at third base has made a big difference for Texas.
That makes Castro dance on that pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-2. The Rays have dominated the Astros. They have a better record against Houston than any other major league team against any opponent since 2010. They're 18-5 against the Astros since 2010.
And they're the only team the Rays have played this year that have not beaten the Rays.
3-2. By the way, Beltre has the Rangers RBI tonight in that game, and it was a double.
Yeah, along with Prince Fielder, that's a dynamic duo in the middle of that order.
Three-two pitch coming with 2 outs. Gaddis is not being held on by Nava. He'll take off. Time is called. The Astros have come from behind to win 31 times. Gaddis is going, and there's a foul ball. They are 40-19 at home, a .678 winning percentage, the best in the American League. Certainly falling behind 4-0 after 1/2 inning is putting a team in a hole. The Rays are 27-28 on the road. Gaddis going, and it's ball 4. Castro works a walk, number 1 of the night for Ramirez. Now it turns over to Altuve.
Sometimes big hits come in the 9th inning. Sometimes they come early in a ball game.
Well, that's an excellent point, Ash.
A big knock to the gap here by Altuve would put the Astros back in this one quickly.
That's kind of the feel of things right now, isn't it? And Altuve worked the count full before he hit the fly ball to left, first time up. Altuve has been clutch again this season for the Astros. 3:51 with runners in scoring position. He chased that one, and it's strike 1. It's a 10-game homestand for Houston. The first place Dodgers will be here over the weekend. Zach Greinke to pitch on Sunday against the Astros. Broken bat, glove, Longoria to second for the forced play. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left. 4-1 Tampa Bay after a couple.
home game. Connect with other young professionals from around Houston while enjoying an extended happy hour in the Bud Patio from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. That's this Thursday, August 20th. For more information, visit Astros.com/young professionals, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Young pros right there. 4-1 ball game. Tampa Bay with the 4-run first inning has working room. Scott Kazmir has retired 4 in a row since the Nava single in the first. Here's Longoria now. Longoria dribbled a ground ball through opposite the shift to get things started in that 4-run first for a single. There's strike 1 to him. Kazmir's 2-0 in this ballpark. 5 times. Pulled the string on him, and it's 0-2.
Even Longoria didn't want to sneak one through the right side again here. He just wanted to launch one.
Sure did. In the dirt for a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Oddly, Scott Kazmir had allowed just 1 hit with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. 1 for 33 until that eventful first inning tonight. Fly ball out to center. Here's Gomez coming in for it. That loops in for a hit. And Longoria just drops in a little flare. He's 2 for 2, and neither ball has been hit hard.
Could be that Gomez plays a deeper center field, more concerned about the ball getting over the head than maybe some balls in front. I don't think Longoria thought he had a hit when he first hit that ball.
Forsythe threw a walk in the first inning. Orioles lead the Athletics 4-2. They're in the bottom of the 6th in Baltimore. That Baltimore club bears watching in the wild card race. And it's ball 1. And for that matter, possible winner in the AL East as well. Baltimore trails New York by only 4 games. Steve Clevenger hit his first home run. Danny Valencia, number 11 for the A's.
He's the guy that got very hot during that Astros series.
Oh, he sure did. He loves that A's uniform. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Can't really see where Gomez comes from on this play, but he is playing, to my eye, a considerably deeper center field than we've seen from, say, Jake Marisnick.
It's 2-1. Sonny Gray is the AL ERA leader, 2.06. Kazmir was second. This game started tonight. Dallas Keuchel 3rd, David Price 4th. Foul back, and it's 2-2. Great ticket promotion for this series. An adult can buy tickets in the upper deck. We'll say you have 2 14-year-olds. You buy 1 ticket in the upper deck, the 2 14-year-olds come for free. Or a 14 and a 9.
Scared me for a second. I thought I'd just awakened from a coma.
Liner over Correa into left center field. Tucker over to pick it up. Longoria into second on the Forsythe single. First and second, nobody out.
Yeah, just soft liner. Hit it like he throws it, I guess. Carlos went up the ladder as many rungs as he could get to.
As Drupal Cabrera with the RBI single to center field comes around for the second time. Would you rather bring 2 14-year-olds or a 14 and a 6-year-old?
Wow. Can I interview them first?
Cabrera looks at ball 1. 6 hits for Tampa Bay Well, this club has broken out in the month of August. Only has a .246 batting average for the season, but over .300 this month. Correa off balance to Altuve and on to Valbuena. He was staggering, but he still got a good throw on to start a 6-4-3 double play.
That was tough. Ball hit sharply. Really didn't enable Carlos to get his feet exactly where he might have wanted. But still comes up with it cleanly and sets Altuve up perfectly. Boy, that double play. Been long said it's the pitcher's best friend, but right there, no question.
Sorely needed by Kazmir. He was losing his balance, but he maintained his composure to start the play.
Many of us would have caught some shoelaces with a cleat, no doubt.
Yeah. Tim Beckham had the 3-run homer. There's ball one. They would have been carrying some of us off on a stretcher after attempting a play like that.
Did you ever have that shoelace wrapped around cleat moment as a kid?
Absolutely, at least 3 times a game. Now back, it's 1-1. This sport, you know, guys go from a standstill to a play like that, or they're diving. It's just such an explosive sport. Many people might not think of it that way, but in the movements of the defensive players, it is. In for a strike, and it's 1-2. And for a struggling pitcher like Kazmir, that's a critical time to start a double play.
There's just no debating whether Carlos Correa has made a big defensive positive difference for this club. There's just no doubt about it.
2-2. Hands behind home plate are letting Joe West know about it. .62 pitches already for Kazmir. Who comes over to field this one and throws him out. He really had to steam that throw. He retired Beckham, and it's no runs, 2 hits, and a man left. It's 4-1 Rays. Fair now at Southwest.com. And by HEB. No store does more than my HEB. It's 4-1 here in game 1 of a 4-game series. Erasmo Ramirez was presented with the 4-run lead. He gave up a run in the second inning. Gomez started it with a bunt single, wound up scoring on an error, but the run was considered to be earned. And now it's Tucker, Correa, and Lowry in the home third inning. Tucker grounded back to the pitcher in the first. And strike one to Preston. The series at Tampa Bay was very low scoring. In 3 games, Tampa Bay scored 10 runs and Houston got 4. Tampa Bay sweeping it. Broken bat pop. Nava with the catch. 1 out.
I don't know if Daniel Nava would tell you that was routine. Not much air under that thing, and then eventually Willie Mays in the basket catch trying to get to that.
Yeah, it's kind of a low pop-up because the bat was broken. Correa bounced a single into center field his first time up. When Ramirez faced the Astros at Tampa Bay, that was July 10th against Colin McHugh. He won that game 3-1, giving up 1 run in 6 innings. That's ball 1 to Correa. Marlins lead at Milwaukee. It's 2-1 in the top of the 4th inning. In for a strike that evens it at 1-1 with Lowry on deck.
Tampa Bay employing a shift in the infield, and I'm wondering if it's tempting for Carlos Correa to just go ahead and take one of his right field hacks.
They usually don't shift on him.
No, he's too good all over the place.
1-2. See if they move it back around because he's been getting 2-strike hits to right field. Yep. Beckham's going to move back to his left now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There are just no secrets. All these teams have video on every pitch thrown to the opposing hitters. Strike 3. 2 outs. Strikeout number 1 for Ramirez.
I think Carlos winds up taking a pretty hittable fastball right there, as you can see, finding a lot of white on the plate.
Lowry hit the ball in the air to left field in the first inning. Jed feeling good with that right thumb coming around nicely after the surgery, and now that he's been back in the lineup for the most part as a stable part of that productive lineup at third base, the thumb has not given him problems. He did get the day off yesterday. Still 44 games remaining, including this one. 22 home and 22 road for the Astros, counting this game. Infield shifts around now with an 0-2 count. Lowry's down on strikes. Casale with the throw. And in the third inning, it's 1-2-3. 4-1 Rays.
Altuve now with 3 walk-off hits this year. Of course, one came yesterday, this one early on in the season. One of the big moments for the ball club at that time. Also launched a home run against the Boston Red Sox. That was a game winner that just barely got out and got him rather soaked. And then, of course, yesterday beating the Tigers. So 3 times in one season. That earns a nice tackle from Carlos Correa.
Daniel Nava takes Kazmir's first pitch here in the 4th inning. It's strike 1. Nava singled to center field in the 1st inning. Albuena is far off the first base line. No balls, 2 strikes to Nava. Usually James Loney is in at first base against a right-handed pitcher. Loney, the Houston native, sitting this one out with Kazmir on the mound. Tampa Bay has done well against lefties, 20-13 in games started by left-handers. Foul away, still 0-2. Giants and Cardinals are scoreless. They're in the bottom of the 4th at St. Louis. Michael Wacha for the Cardinals against Chris Heston for San Francisco. Jason Hayward left that game with a left hamstring tightness problem in the 3rd inning. Kazmir missing outside as a 1-2 count now. Kazmir started this game with the best home ERA in the majors at 1.22. That certainly changed with the 4-run first. Lowry, 1 out. Especially in the American League, though, the best pitchers, and it's going to happen to just about everybody. If that big explosive 1st inning or 2nd inning, the club is behind, but the best ones are the ones who can regroup, get the outs quickly after that, and stay in the game for at least 6 innings to help out the bullpen.
David Price, one of the classic examples. Had a couple of games this year where he's gotten beat around a little bit, but he pitches so well all around it.
Kiermaier struck out earlier. Popped up. Altuve. That really helps Kazmir. A 1 pitch out, number 2. Yeah, you know, nobody wants to give it up early, certainly, but there is that responsibility, so to speak, to the club. Try to lock it down after that. Because if the manager has to go to the bullpen in the 2nd or 3rd inning, that can really put him and his pen behind the 8 ball for days to come.
It's also easy for starting pitchers to be rolling along beautifully statistically and then have that one real rough one and say, well, there goes my season. And therefore maybe the mental approach changes. But the really good ones find a way.
Casale struck out in the 2nd inning. That's in to even the count at 1-1. All 4 of these games in this series are at 7-10. Tomorrow night it's Scott Feldman and Jake Odorizzi. Wednesday night Dallas Keuchel and Nathan Carnes. 1-2, Casale out in front. Thursday night it's Colin McHugh versus Chris Archer. There are the matchups. All games coming your way on Root Sports. All pregame show times, 6:30. The Dodgers are here over the weekend on this long 10-game homestand, longest of the year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I believe I said Greinke would be pitching Sunday, but that should be Friday because he pitched yesterday and he hit a homer. We don't have the official Dodger probables. That's strike 3 call, and that ends the top of the 4th. Second 1-2-3 frame for Kazmir, and it gets strikeout number 5, 4-1.
And we want you to know that kids' tickets are free for these Rays versus Astros games this week. Bring your family to Minute Maid Park and get up to 2 free kids' tickets with the purchase of 1 adult ticket in select seats. For more information on this great deal, go to astros.com/kidsfree, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Got a lot of kids in the ballpark tonight, guys.
Great to see them. Why not get out before school starts? And some have taken this opportunity to do exactly that. Carlos Gomez leads it off. He bunted for a single to lead off the home second inning and came around to score. There's ball 1 to him.
Come on now, here we go.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have hired former Brewers manager Ron Renicky as third base coach, replacing Lorenzo Bundy, who stays in the organization. Interesting time to make a change.
Yeah, that is. That's got to be tough on, in this case, Lorenzo Bundy.
Yeah. 2-0 to Gomez. Fouls that one off his leg and goes down. 2-1.
Carlos is a free swinger. There's no doubt about that. And I guess a bit like George Springer in that regard. Maybe sometimes tame it down and hit that line drive.
He grounds it right at Nava. 1 out. George Springer, by the way, continues to ramp up his activities. He has not been able to lift weights for about 6 weeks. That's part of what he's allowed to do right now as he gets himself closer to being in game shape for the Astros. There is no particular date for his return. Colby Rasmus, who grounded back to Ramirez, is the batter. Gaddis on deck. Line shot and it will hook. Foul. Strike 1. Well, there was early work today in left field for Evan Gaddis, who's going to be hitting next in this game, and also Preston Tucker. Astros kind of spread around that early work. They'll take outfielders in this case out for about 15 minutes, hit them some balls. The center fielder's back for it. Kiermaier. 2 outs. And Gaddis will follow. He got the infield hit to second in the second inning. Indians 7, Red Sox 1, top of the 7th at Fenway Park. Twins lead the Yankees now 6-5 in the middle of the 5th at Yankee Stadium. Well, it's Arizona 4, Pittsburgh 1. They're in the bottom of the 6th at PNC Park. Foul back for strike 1. So we're not quite sure when Greinke's going to be pitching this weekend.
Still our decision to make, though, right?
Yeah, it's our decision. So just shoot us a line on Twitter. When do you want him to pitch? We'll take care of
it. We make the tough calls.
No balls, 2 strikes. Well, he is having one sensational year. To right field. Geyer back, leaping at the wall, opposite field, long ball. Evan Gaddis, 4-2 now. On the 0-2 pitch, he drove it out for number 18.
No chance he'll stop at third base here, I guess, huh? No. What are the Rays thinking? The target was up. Let's throw it up near the beard for Evan Gaddis. And once it gets up in that range, he just goes to jacking the other way. Watch this. Throw it up here. Yeah, okay.
They didn't fear the beard.
Apparently not. Evan has needed a little bit of an unleashing, and maybe that takes care of that for him.
Now Valbuena bunting, and it's foul for strike 1. But Gaddis, the club leader, gets his 61st run batted in. That was his first homer since August 2nd. 37 at bats ago.
Creeping back into this one.
4-2 game. Well, the way the Astros hit homers, they could get back in it quickly. That's number 162 for them. Tops in the majors. 47% of their runs have come on long balls. 0-2 for Valbuena, who lined to center last time up. Gaddis hit 22 long balls last year. That's his major league high. Valbuena takes the ball. That's 10 homers surrendered by Ramirez in 114 innings this season. To left field. Jennings over. 1 run, 1 hit. Gaddis goes deep to cut the lead to 2. 4-2 Tampa Bay after 4.
Courtesy of MD Anderson, and all they do, the strike zone. Let's see what that. Do you have to swing at good pitches? Throw it up here. Okay, out there's fine. Well, maybe not so much. You see where that pitch was, and Evan Gaddis takes good care of it. Nice souvenir for a fan in right field.
Yeah, he tucked that one right away for the fan. 4-2 now as Brandon Guyer leads it off. Guyer fouls it. There's strike one. Well, we're getting all sorts of help on this Dodger rotation for the weekend. We're just guessing.
Tommy Lasorda gotten a hold of you?
No, but Adam Schneider did. He says you can look for Anderson, Greinke, and Kershaw. We don't think that's going to happen. They're off today, but they're also off Thursday, so they have some different ways they can go with their rotation. Into left field. A single for Guyer and a 6-game hitting streak. We go to Bart Ennis.
Hey, Brownie, it's time for our progressive fan of the game. And tonight we got 4 fans, actually, 4 very good Astros fans, 4 stout Craig Biggio fans. Let me introduce them to you. In the front row here, we have Jeff and Jennifer Fountain. And behind them, we have Jeff's sister, Lauren Ward, and her fiance, Jason Plotkin. Now, these 4 drove all the way to Cooperstown in one day, stayed for the Biggio induction, turned around, and drove all the way back after the induction that Sunday. So, Jeff, let's start with you. That's quite an impressive feat.
Yeah, it was a long drive, but it was worth it, to see the first Astro get into the Hall of Fame. So, we do it again, I think, for sure.
So how did this come about? Originally you were going to fly, right?
Right. I had been planning to make the trip by myself, and then about 2 weeks before the induction ceremony, I called my sister and I said, "You should go with me." So she asked Jason, he said yes. I asked my wife, she said yes, and we just took off driving.
Now that is one heck of a road trip. Let me ask Jennifer, that's a long time to be stuck in the car with your husband.
It definitely was a long time, but we survived. We're still married, so we're good to go.
Okay, that's a good thing. Did you guys have a good time out there too?
Oh, it was awesome. It was a hell of an experience, and you know, you only do it one time, you know, especially for Craig DJ, so it was incredible and you know, worth the entire 50-hour trip. So
any cool fun stories you can share with the audience?
Well, you know, we stopped by Memphis and Cleveland to see our friends, and we had a lot of good food, a lot of good drinks, and family bonding, yeah.
A lot of bonding and multiple hours in the car. Well, for your efforts to go up there and celebrate along with the Biggio family, you guys are our progressive fans of the game. Well done. And they need some new tires for that car, guys.
They did. They really went for it. Thanks, Bart. We read about them. Well, back-to-back singles now by Geyer and Jennings. They have Tampa Bay set up for Evan Longoria to bat. He's 2 for 2 already in this game.
Hopefully they got some of that hourly meal money that gets distributed.
Strike one for Scott Kazmir.
You're making some of that big meal money coming up on the upcoming trip for the club, huh?
You get a trip off. Mr. Jeff Blum will be heading for Yankee Stadium. Sunday night, probably. When's Julia coming back to work?
I think this week. I think following this series with Tampa Bay.
Hey, Bart got all wet yesterday after the game. He was doused with freezing cold water.
Well, I think it's only fitting. You need to join in the celebration. That's what it's all about, right?
Chivalry is still alive with Bart taking that one for Julia. Longoria strikes out. Number 6 for Kazmir. Blew it by him upstairs.
Join the Astros this Saturday, August 22nd, for the Biggio Hall of Fame pregame celebration. Craig Biggio will be addressing fans at Minute Maid Park. That's prior to the Dodgers versus Astros game. And 10,000 fans will receive a Biggio Hall of Fame t-shirt presented by Coca-Cola. For more information, visit astros.com/Biggio HOF Hall of Fame or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Do it today.
That plaque will be here this weekend. Logan Forsythe has 2 on and 1 out. He's walked and he's singled for a $7 contribution to Astros Foundation. You can get your photo taken with that plaque. That's really a place in the Hall of Fame. It's a must-visit room with all the plaques hanging. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. The playoff schedule was released today by Major League Baseball. The American League wild card game will be October 6th.
So that's not the day after the season ends the 4th.
Fourth, yes. 2 days after. There might be a playoff before that. So they would have to keep that 1 day open in case there's a playoff to see who gets in the wild card playoff. 2 balls and a strike. The World Series will open October 27th in the American League City.
That's going to leave room for Mr. November this year.
Yeah, the World Series could potentially go into November. I think November 4th if it went 7 games. They say Houston is nice in November. Runner goes and it's foul back. Both runners took off. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I'll cast my vote as a definite yes.
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson going to come back and try to be Mr. October and Mr. November?
He might. Understand he met with some of the Astros players out west. Dash.
I missed that.
Some of the guys went down to see some of his collectible automobiles.
You guys checked in to see how he stirs the drink.
Altuve's trying to hold the runner on at second. Pitches ball 3. 3-2. Geyer's getting his lead. Now Altuve is there. He could take a throw if Kazmir wanted to make one. Angels have made some personnel moves. They optioned yesterday's starting pitcher Matt Shoemaker, or a couple days ago, to the minor leagues. Corey Rasmus on the disabled list. They've recalled Cam Bedrosian and Mike Morin. Runners go, and it's fouled again, and they will later this week announce who's going to replace Shoemaker in the rotation. They'll call up a different pitcher to take his next scheduled start.
Right here, that was a very poor jump at second by Brandon Guyer. That would have been an easy gun down at third base for Castro had there been a swing and a miss.
Angels have Andrew Heaney set to go tonight at home against Carlos Rodon of the White Sox. Altuve just straddling the bag. He takes the throw, and ball popped out of his glove. Guyer back in head first. Didn't appear he would have gotten the out call anyway if he had held it, but Guyer's being watched.
It's a good effort by Altuve to just swipe a tag in there. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Guyer managed to just get back in.
It's Seattle 2, Texas 2. They're in the bottom of the fifth at Globe Life Park. Big 3-2 coming here. Runners going, and Forsythe fouling again. Adrian Beltre's driven in both of the Texas runs tonight. Franklin Gutierrez and Kyle Seager have RBIs for Seattle. Runners going. It's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Walk number 2 for Kazmir, and with one out, it'll be Cabrera batting.
That's an intriguing situation for a catcher. On that 3-2, you have to know if the umpire's calling this a strike or not. And that's a callable pitch. You can see that's in the strike zone. But you have to get word immediately, in this case from Joe West. Otherwise, you launch that throw to third and you risk the chance of throwing one down the left field line. But that had a great shot to be a strike him out, throw him out.
Now bases loaded. Cabrera in the box. He is 1 for 2, an RBI single in the first. He bounced into a double play in the third. Wouldn't Kazmir love to duplicate that outcome here? Out to left center field. Gomez giving chase. Makes the grab on the run. Here's a tag at third. Guyer coming home to make it 5-2. Sacrifice fly by Cabrera. 2 runs batted in for him tonight, giving him 31 for the season.
A nice running grab in the gap. Without this catch, the Astros would be in a very tough spot.
Oh, yes, they would. Bullpen action for Houston. Lefty Tony Sipp is warming. Tim Beckham cranked a 3-run homer in the first, then grounded back to the pitcher in the third. He fouls it away, strike one. The Washington Nationals have the day off. They have lost 6 in a row, and they've gone 6-13 in their last 19. There's Sipp warming up. They are now a game under 500 at 58-59. They're 4.5 behind the Mets.
Let's take a look now at Inside the Box score, brought to you by Jack in the Box. Against lefties with the A's and the Astros this year. You can see in the green with the A's 221. With the Astros 348. That's kind of hard to figure why that might be. Of course, this just the 5th start as a member of the Astros for Kazmir, but a lot of variance in some of the numbers there.
2 balls, 1 strike. Since Kazmir joined the Astros rotation, the Astros pitchers, their starters, have combined for an ERA of 2.90, third best in the majors since July 24th. Time called, and Beckham moves away from the plate. He might have something in his eye. Since the Astros moved to the American League, the Rays have gone 13-4 against them. Their all-time record against Houston is 18-10. Flared foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. With that Washington club we talked about, a number of problems have emerged the last couple of weeks. Drew Storen, since the acquisition of Jonathan Papelbon, has a 10.38 ERA. Max Scherzer, his last 3 starts, has a 7.80. Anthony Rendon, Ryan Zimmerman, and Jason Worth all returned from injuries. And since then, in 206 at-bats, they've combined for 6 homers, 19 runs batted in. Into center field, Gomez charging, reaching up for the catch. He almost overran it. And in the 5th inning, the Rays add to their lead with a run on 2 hits. They strand 2. They lead it by 3, 5-2 in the 5th. A 5-2 ball game. The Rays lead it. The Astros come up in the bottom of the 5th here. And Erasmo Ramirez will be working to Castro, Altuve, and Tucker. Castro drew a walk in the 2nd inning. Infield shifts around. First baseman Nava very close to the line. That's ball 1 to Castro. The Astros now down by 3. They've been out hit 8-4. Ramirez at 58 pitches for the game. Got a 1-2-3 3rd inning. It's 1-1. The Rays have the 4th best ERA in the American League, 3.67. Their pitching coach Jim Hickey, former Astros pitching coach. He is a good one. 2-1. Foul away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Coming into this game, the Astros had a run differential of 81. They've had scored 81 runs more than their opponents. That was 3rd in the majors. But they quickly went to a -4 after the top of the 1st inning tonight. Chipped away with a 2nd inning run and then got a Gaddis homer in the 4th, but in the top of the 5th inning, Tampa Bay added to its lead, and now it's a 3-run margin. Rays bullpen has been worked very hard this year, harder than any other team in the American League, with 386 innings pitched by their relievers. 3-2, but their pitching philosophy is they really do not like the thought of a starting pitcher going the 3rd time through the order, ideally.
No, so lay it on the bullpen.
Yeah. Liner caught by Beckham.
Hitting in hard luck right there. This moment in history is brought to you by M.D. Anderson. 1 year ago today, Jose Altuve hit his first career grand slam that went right out of Fenway Park over the Green Monster, part of an 8-1 Astros win over the Red Sox. That to this date is the only grand slam of the fine career of Jose Altuve. Of course, the Astros have added a couple this year. Jason Castro and Hank Conger have hit those pair.
Altuve's 0 for 2 tonight. Ramirez delivers, and there's strike 1. Kiermaier is well over into right center field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Altuve's hit to win the game yesterday in the 9th went to left center. Nice line drive. Center fielder was shading him to right center. This one goes to right. And a nice liner there gives him a 4-game hitting streak and gets the Astros something going for Preston Tucker.
That was a batting title-like stroke. And we haven't seen a lot of this from Jose Altuve for a good long while, but that's perfection. Stand through the baseball, driving it the other way on a line. You start doing that, that batting average will skyrocket.
He's aboard for Tucker. Preston 0 for 2. Even though Altuve leads the AL in steals, trailing 5-2, he would have to be absolutely certain of making it to take off. Casali has thrown out 24%. Foul tip there makes it 0-2 to Tucker.
That league average pretty good, right about 27% this year. Well, this might be one of those times where you go ahead and take your shot. It could be one of those games where you just have to put singletons up on the board and try to get back in it.
Correa's on deck. Foul ball, and this is out of play. It's been a different story for Erasmo Ramirez with men on base. When he's working from the stretch, the batting average against him is 287. When there's nobody on, 179. But he has been very effective on left-handed hitters. There's that differential. Left-handed hitters have managed just a .301 slugging percentage against him. Boy, is that low. In the dirt.
You can see what he does. That was the changeup. And that changeup tends to be very effective for a right-hand pitcher against a left-handed hitter. And when you see that vast difference in numbers where the lefties struggle against a righty, typically it's the change, splitter, something of that nature.
Tucker works it back to a 2-2 count. changeup has been thrown by Ramirez 25% of the time. In fact, of his strikeouts, 42% have come on changeups. In the dirt. Casale's had some tough pitches to him.
That was it again, and he's yanked the last couple. That can be really surprising how certain pitchers with good changeups will rack up the strikeouts on that pitch. It's kind of the pitch that saw McCann pick off Jake Marisnick at first base a couple of days ago. Very, very big play.
Altuve going. It's a bouncer into right field behind him. He picks up the baseball in right field, continues on to third. And the Astros have runners at first and third with one out as we go to Bart Ennis.
Thank you, Brownie. Well, the Astros invite you to celebrate the hard work and commitment of our nurses and healthcare professionals at Nurses Appreciation Night tomorrow, August 18th, when the Astros take on these Rays. Enjoy a special price seat and an Astros scrub top for just $35. For more information, go to astros.com/nurses or call 1-877-9-ASTROS today. Guys, back up to you.
Well, here in this third time through the order, we can see things start to turn as Ramirez has given up back-to-back hits to Altuve and Tucker. Steve Geltz is warming up in the bullpen as Jim Hickey goes to the mound. So this is that theory coming into play right before our very eyes, Ash.
That last pitch, a high fastball, tough to get on top of to hit the ground ball, but Preston Tucker managed to do so.
Boy, did Tucker have a tremendous at bat there, falling behind 0-2. And then working to count full before getting that single through the right side.
Watch how he has to go after this pitch up. Got on top. Didn't really center it up all that well, but found a big hole on the right side.
He did. Carlos Correa has this opportunity now. He's 1 for 2. 6 hits for the Astros. The Rays have 8. And it's ball 1. Well, in addition to this third time through the order stretch for a starting pitcher, for some anyway, there is the objective of getting the starter through 5 innings so he can qualify for a win. And now that's being tested.
I wonder how much of that conversation with Jim Hickey out of the mound might have been about staying away on Correa, but they come in.
Beckham out into shallow right field, makes the catch. 2 outs. He ran it down.
Costly out. And I thought what the Rays would try to do is stay away from the home run power of Carlos Correa, but not sure if that pitch was intended in, but it sure did get in the kitchen.
Yes, it did.
It looks like from that angle, and it's tough to tell, as we see the baseball almost drop for Beckham, that the catcher was setting up away.
That could have been interesting, and the ball dropped out of his glove. Base runners were hung up. Lowry, the batter, he's 0 for 2. Jed looks at ball 1. He still would have been able to get an easy force out at second had he dropped the ball, but then Altuve would have had a decision to make. Wouldn't have been much he could do to score on that play either. 2 balls, no strikes.
He's not, speaking of Carlos Correa, not a slam helmets and bat kind of guy down in the dugout. Just sit down, take it in, try to figure out how to not let that happen again.
Foul ball. And it's 2-1 to Jed Lowry. If Erasmo Ramirez wins tonight or some other time, he'll become the 3rd Ray to get to 10 wins in the season after the Rays traded for him. Mark Hendrickson did it and Matt Garza did it. He brought a 12-inning shutout streak into this one, extended it to 13 before the Astros got on the board. Lowry to Beckham. And Ramirez is out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left after 5-2 Tampa Bay.
They are trailing the Rays 5-2, and it's time to reveal that Astro. Remember the clues. He played one season with the Astros. He is the third generation of a family to play in the major leagues. He is third baseman Aaron Boone, who was one of the real class acts the one year he was here. Really enjoyed working with him. His brother Brett Boone also played. They are both the son of Bob Boone, who was a catcher for the Phillies, Angels, and Royals, also was a manager in the big leagues. And Aaron's grandfather was the late third baseman Ray Boone. Pretty good ball player as well, guys.
Well, we had some answers. Buddy Bell. And Buddy played for more than one season.
Couple of seasons with the Astros. Great friend of mine. Started rookie ball with him in 1969.
Terrific third baseman, as was Aaron Boone. Daniel Nava gets it started in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 2. Thanks to all of you. Send in answers on Twitter. Good to hear from you. There's strike one.
Don't know if the fans ever get out to the ballpark early, and maybe on an occasion see little kids out on the field. Sons of dads that are playing on the team, and maybe during batting practice shagging some balls down. But that's who Aaron and Brett Boone and the younger Pete Rose and so many of the Cincinnati Reds back in the day, and the Phillies that would have their kids out there, they wound up being big league players.
Kazmir closes in on the century mark for pitches thrown tonight. 67 strikes in 98 offerings. Foul back, and Nava stays alive at 0-2. Rangers got a run in the 6th inning. They lead Seattle now 3-2 in the top of the 7th. Cole Hamels still in the game against Taijuan Walker. Kiermaier is on deck. Casale due up third in the inning. Pull foul. Still 0-2 to Daniel Nava, who signed as an undrafted free agent with Boston in 08. He was purchased from Chico of the Golden League in independent ball. And in 2013, he hit .303, 12 homers, 66 runs batted in, and played in the World Series. He fouls it away. He hit a grand slam on the first pitch thrown to him in the big leagues.
I had the privilege of managing a couple of years of independent ball, and there are some good players playing there, guys who have played organizationally and others who haven't. But it's really great hearing those stories about guys who make it from independent ball.
Yeah, well, Scott Kazmir just a few years ago was pitching for the Sugar Land Skeeters right here.
Something. Yep.
He, of course, established himself as a major leaguer. It's 1-2. He was rebuilding his mechanics, and his velocity had dropped off quite a bit. So that was one of the steps he took to get his way back to the big leagues.
And eventually right back here to Houston.
He was drafted in the first round by the New York Mets, but then traded to Tampa Bay for Victor Zambrano, and one of the best deals the Rays have ever made, and one of the worst deals the Mets have ever made. Nava gets another bat tossed up to him. Now, the Rays, of course, do not have the resources of the big market teams. But it's been amazing how many seasons they've been in the hunt up to this time of the year, or even later, and a World Series appearance for the Rays, with far fewer financial resources in the high-powered AL East.
There was a time as the Devil Rays, they were the team guaranteed to finish last. Year after year, they parlayed that into a bunch of #1 picks and turned into a real good and top-tier team.
Yeah, especially once they exercised the Devil from their name.
Yeah, that's right. They had to get rid of the Devil. But they turned it around.
Bouncer up the middle, and on behind second. Altuve can't pick it up. It's a hit for Nava. He's 2 for 3.
What a difference for a pitcher that can feel that position. That's just ground ball. Well, we may have all seen it. It went right on by Scott Kazmir.
Josh Fields is warming up. 104 pitches for Kazmir now. Kiermaier follows. He is 0 for 2. And the game might be at that stage when Kazmir stays in to face this left-handed hitter and then comes out. That's ball 1 to Kiermaier. The Astros are in a stretch of 13 consecutive games. That started when Detroit began this homestand Friday night.
Different look, by the way, there from Scott Kazmir. Not quite the slide step, but close to it as he tries to stop that running game.
It's now 2-0.
That was close. Now Castro set up away, had to reach back across the plate, but umpires have to be able to adjust. I'm not saying that was on the plate. Sometimes they are, though.
Yeah. 3-0. Fresno Grizzlies won 4-0 over New Orleans. They're now 73-48, a first place club in the PCL. The magic number is 9. A walk to Kiermaier makes it runners at first and second, nobody out. A 4-pitch walk, walk number 3 for Kazmir.
Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. You can do it with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for your details.
Brent Strom comes out with Casali the batter. Casali has struck out both times tonight. So that Fresno club in good shape for making the playoffs at 73-40. Probably the best club they've ever had in Fresno. Former Giant farm. Matt Duffy got his 5th multi-hit game. He's hitting .377 in August with 4 homers and 20 runs batted in. Ash.
Some awfully good numbers, and it can certainly make big differences.
Kazmir now with those numbers facing Casali. Could be a bunt situation here. Looking to pad the 5-2 lead for the Rays. We'll see what Kevin Cash has in mind. Corpus Christi is now 76-44 after winning 2-1 last night. In the air to right field. Rasmus backing, and the runners are tagging, both of them. There's the grab. The throw goes into second. It's out number 1 as Casali gets it deep enough to move Nava to third base. Brandon Guyer will not be facing Scott Kazmir. A.J. Hinch comes out to make a move here. It'll be Josh Fields versus Brandon Guyer in a moment. Kazmir giving up 9 hits and 5 runs so far, walking 3 and fanning 6 tonight. And as he comes out, Josh Fields is on his way in with the score. The Rays 5, the Astros 2.
the AT&T call to the bullpen as Josh Fields jogs it in from right center field and takes over. A guy that's not inclined to get the ground ball, that might get a double play to get out of the inning, but 41 games with some good work behind him. 227 earned, whip under the 1 mark. Scoreless are the opponents in 14 of his last 15 appearances. Maybe the strikeout pop-up is the scenario, with now the pinch hitter coming to the plate that A.J. Hinch is looking for.
Lefty hitting John Jaso comes up to pinch hit for Geyer, who was 1 for 3. Kevin Cash gets percentages in his favor. With runners at first and third, 1 out. There is strike 1 for Jaso. Jaso's been with Tampa Bay since '08. He's from Chula Vista, California, a catcher. 4 for 9 pinch hitting with 2 runs batted in and a couple of doubles as a pinch hitter for Jaso. He looks at a strike and it's 0-2. Jaso had an RBI single yesterday at Texas. And in fact, in his last 3 at bats with runners in scoring position, he's 3 for 3 with 5 runs batted in. Fouls it back. Jaso, even though he came up with Tampa Bay, then moved along to Seattle in a trade, and Oakland. He played for the A's last year, driving in 40 runs and 307 at bats. And then coming back in another deal this January to the Rays. It's 1-2.
Tried to pull the string with the changeup.
Marwin Gonzalez on the bench there, along with Scott Kazmir. Fields worked 2/3 of an inning yesterday, and he struck out both men he faced, Marte and Avila. That would certainly play well here, as you indicated earlier.
And if you can induce Jaso to put it on the ground, great guy to turn the double play on.
You bet. This is the top major league season so far for Josh Fields. Career bests in a number of departments. Line drive into left field will get a run home to make it 6-2 on the pinch RBI single by Jaso. He stays hot.
Tough to take when you're the starting pitcher. You're pulled from the game. You're sitting on the bench. You know it was earned by some work against you to start the inning, but nonetheless very tough to sit and watch.
Well, one of those nights when, if there had been a do-over, Kazmir might be pitching really well, because the way that 4-run first went, there was a little ground ball single by Longoria against the shift, then a walk, a looping single in front of the center fielder. Maybe on another night that's caught. Now Jennings is the batter. There's a strike, but you know, if you watch baseball every day, you do see that, how those things mushroom.
Yeah, that's the diary of a rough inning to start the game.
Bouncer slowly hit. Correa charging. Flipping to Altuve. No other play. He looked at third. It's out number 2. Kiermaier didn't round the base far enough at third for Altuve to throw behind him.
And no doubt some good third base coaching and some fine play here at shortstop to make sure and get that out at second.
Altuve just looking right at third. He had no play at first, and hoping that the runner could make himself available for a throw to third to get him picked off, but that did not happen. Evan Longoria bats. He's 2 for 3. That's ball 1. Michael Feliz pitched well last night for Corpus Christi. 6 scoreless innings with 8 punch outs. He was with the Astros briefly earlier this season. He might fit into the September call-up picture. Brandon Gomes is throwing in the Tampa Bay pen right now as that foul ball goes back into the seats. 1-1. Right-hander Gomes. Seattle and Texas are tied 3-3. They're now in the bottom of the 7th in Arlington. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Of course, every team will be looking for bullpen reinforcements soon in September. Longoria fouls it. Fields was a first-round pick of Seattle in 08. Traded then to Boston and on to Houston in the Rule 5 draft.
Hard to imagine how an arm like this gets away in a Rule 5 draft.
It is. Struck him out. 1 run scoring, 2 hits with 2 men stranded. We move to the last of the 6th inning. Tampa Bay steaming out in front, 6-2.
Colby Rasmus yesterday hit a couple of huge home runs for the club. Part of that victory over the Tigers that required the walk-off by Jose Altuve. But you don't even get to that point without these bombs hits. Number 16 and 17 on the year for Colby Rasmus. Having a nice year with the long ball.
6-2 Rays. Carlos Gomez takes the first pitch here in the bottom of the 6th inning from Erasmo Ramirez, and it's ball 1. Gomez bunted and came around to score. There is John Jaso staying in the game to play right field after pinch hitting successfully, driving in a run. Entering the game for Brandon Guyer. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. It appears now with 82 pitches thrown by Ramirez that skipper Kevin Cash is going to try to squeeze at least 1 more out of him. Foul ball, 1-2, and he had to go to the bullpen quite a bit in that Rangers series. Rays starters in the 3 games totaled 14 innings and were tagged for 14 earned runs. Tony Sipp warming up for Houston right now. So this could be a regrouping type of game for Kevin Cash. Out to center field. Kiermaier on the track, leaping. 1 out.
Yeah, I think Kevin Kiermaier, and you can see the reaction. He thought he was up on the wall. Bad boys back there further than you'll find in other ballparks. And a little bit of a bat flip. Yeah, you hit it well, but it's not enough if you're going to go to center here at Minute Maid Park.
Yeah. A few style points for Kevin Kiermaier. And now here's Colby Rasmus. He's 0 for 2.
There were style points all over the place right there.
Yeah, the bat flip and the leap. There's strike one to Rasmus. Seattle got a run in the 7th and is tied with the Rangers now. They're 3-3 in the top of the 8th. Breaking pitch, 0-2. Cole Hamels still in the game for Texas. And now they're bringing in Sam Dyson in the 8th inning. One ball, 2 strikes. The Rays about hit the Astros 10-6. Tampa Bay with the only error. Fastball in tight. 2-2. Casali has had a very active night behind the dish. Rasmus fouls it away. Beckham on over to first, 2 outs.
Be social with Root Sports, and we'll thank one lucky fan by giving them a better view of the game with a new 40-inch HD television. Just follow us on Twitter at Root Sports Southwest. Now through August 31st to look for your chance to win. Visit rootsports.com for your official rules.
Evan Gattis is 2 for 2, an infield hit and an opposite field home run. Clayton Kershaw is scheduled to pitch for the Dodgers tomorrow night. Strike to Gattis.
This has become the assignment of the night to try to figure out the Dodgers rotation.
Yeah, that's it. Matt Latos is going Wednesday night. It's 1-1. Well, if you go by the normal 4 days rest, that could put Greinke and Kershaw on the mound here next weekend. 2 balls and a strike.
That means you better have the bats tuned up a bit.
Yes. If you were a hitter, would you look forward to that kind of a weekend, Ash?
No, I can't say that honestly. You would, generally speaking, if you're swinging the bat well. It's kind of fun. You like the challenge, but when you're scuffling a bit, they'll widen that scuffle, the parameters of it.
As far as stuff, though, in the major leagues, if you're going to go into a 3-game series and face 2 guys like that, can anybody match those 2 in a 3-game series?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. That's tough.
Strike, and it's 3-2. Gattis started for first base.
Setting up away. Pitch on the inside edge, maybe a seam or 2.
Joe West took off the mask and went up and said something to Gattis. Line shot deflected. Here's Beckham. And it's dropped at first base. Gattis is safe. Nava tried to stretch. Got his mitt on the throw but couldn't hold it. That was a screamer. Ramirez flagged it down and slowed it down for Beckham, but then Nava couldn't corral the throw.
Second errant throw of the evening at second base by Beckham. Daniel Nava is not a first baseman by trade, and I don't know if Another guy might make this play, but that's good footwork actually by a first baseman. Shifting, going to the other foot as the throw is up that right field side. Just could not make the play and stay on the bag. Now, I'm not sure you could fault Daniel Nava there at all if you're Tim Beckham.
Beckham will draw the error. His second of the night and 7th of the year. Jim Hickey out, perhaps to give the beating heart of Erasmo Ramirez a chance to regroup. That was really shillelagh right back through the middle. Steve Geltz is once again throwing. He's been up earlier. 96 pitches, so it would appear that Valbuena may be the last man Ramirez facing. We'll see. Castro's on deck. Infielders shift around. Ball one to Valbuena. He lined to center and flied to left. The Astros as a team are hitting .229 in the month of August. They've gone 6-8 in August. It's 2-0.
Time to get one and make that error hurt on Tampa Bay.
Correction, it's 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Joe West sets up over that inside part of the plate, kind of angles his body a little bit. Looking over the catcher's inside shoulder. Two-two to Valbuena.
There's a lot of missing of the target going on by Ramirez, and yet he's not having to pay for it at all.
There's another miss to take the count full, and Gaddis will take off. Nava wants instructions from the bench on where to play. He's backing up. That's ball four. Ramirez all over the place. That's probably going to be it for him. 2 men on, 2 outs for Castro. Second walk for Ramirez. Kevin Cash is coming out. One of 4 first-year managers. And all 4 of those teams are separated by only 2 games. If you put them all into one division. Jeff Bannister of the Rangers, Paul Molitor of the Twins, Cash, and Chip Hale of the D-backs. Pitching change coming. Score is 6-2 Tampa Bay.
We're talking about Scott Feldman's last time out at San Francisco. A very good one for Scott as he helped the Astros win just their second game on that 9-game road trip against a tough San Francisco Giants team that is pursuing in the National League West. Scott Feldman had one of those days. The Astros needed a big performance. He brought it, and the Astros were able to split with the Giants on this sunny afternoon in San Francisco.
6-2 ball game, and the Astros try to stir up more trouble for the Rays here. They have just gone to the bullpen. Steve Geltz coming in. Geltz gave up a game-tying homer to Delino DeShields in the 7th inning Friday at Texas. 56 games, and he is the AL leader in appearances. He's 2-4 with 2 saves and a 1.60 ERA. Very strong year, and he faces Castro, who has walked in line to second. Geltz also has started 2 games. And throw strike 1. Geltz is from New York. Began his career with the Angels as a free agent in 08, undrafted. Tampa Bay got him in a trade in spring training of 2013. He's pitched effectively twice this year against the Astros in Tampa Bay. Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. Last year, Geltz was in only 11 games at the major league level. He spent most of his year at AAA Durham. He had a club record earlier this year, retiring 32 consecutive batters. So he had his own perfect game of sorts, +5. Upstairs, and it's 1-2. Altuve's on deck. That's strike 3, and that ends the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 2 left, 6-2 Tampa Bay. For Tony Sipp coming in to work the 7th inning. Josh Fields at 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs, had a strikeout. Sipp is 2-4 with a 2.34 ERA for 46 appearances.
Allowed just 30 hits in 42 1/3 innings this year. He's kept that whip for a 2nd straight season under the 1 mark. Pretty solid effort once again by the lefty.
Yeah, he's having a good month of August as well. A scoreless month of August for Tony Sipp. In the 7th inning, Forsythe, Cabrera, and Beckham due up for the Rays. Will about hit the Astros 10-6. Tampa Bay leaving 6. Houston has stranded 7 through the first 6. Zip delivers, and it's strike 1 to Forsythe, who's been on all 3 times tonight with 2 walks and a single. In the dirt for a ball. It's 1-1. Going back further than just August 1st, Sip has not been tagged with an earned run in any of his last 12 appearances since July 5th at Boston. In for a strike. 1-2. Split fingered fastball is his changeup, and it is really dynamic, tough against a right-handed batter.
Starts it away, bends it in very nicely. Yeah, that game in Boston, a couple of earnings in 2/3 of an inning. Like you say, nothing since.
That's a good run. That was bouncing for ball 2. Did he swing? Yeah, it's a strike. And it's out number 1 instead of ball 2. He swung at it.
Off speed, and that really is the strength of Tony Sip. This one bouncing in front of home plate, that doesn't induce a whole lot of swings.
But as you can see on the replay, the bat did go through. Strikeout number 8 for Houston pitching tonight. As Drupal Cabrera, with the RBI single in the first and a sac fly in the 5th, has driven in a couple of the 6 Tampa Bay tallies in this game. He's out in front of this one. Coming over into foul ground. Valbuena, 2 outs. Mariners and Rangers are still tied at 3. They're in the bottom of the 8th now. Wilhelmsen in for Seattle. The Mariners are 55 and 63. Now in that clubhouse, you know there must be some talk with Lloyd McClendon and the big sluggers, Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz. About time running out already to make a move.
Well, Nelson Cruz has been that big slugger. Robinson Cano hitting .270 and not a lot of great power this year.
No. Ball 1 to Beckham. Beckham with the 3-run homer in the first is 1 for 3. That Seattle club was picked by many to win the AL West and has been a major disappointment.
I know some of those people that picked them.
Yes, you do. You do know a few of them. It's 1-1. What a tremendous season it's been, though, for surprises in the majors.
Is there any bigger positive surprise than the Astros this year?
I don't know that there is. I think you can classify the Mets as a surprise.
Yeah, that would be true. Although they were a little bit sneaky with the punch they had in their starting staff.
Yeah. 1-2.
Time now for the TXU Energy Power Player of the Game. Tim Beckham had an early 3-run home run for Tampa Bay in a first inning that just didn't appear like it needed to be, and yet it was, as they put 4 on the board in that first.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Toronto probably is not a big surprise, right?
No, I not really. And they weren't a great team until they kind of loaded up and became very strong with that roster.
Dodgers are not a surprise.
No.
St. Louis is not.
You know, and I said positive surprises. because there are some negative surprises.
Oh, yeah. Lowry makes it a 1-2-3-7. 6-2 Tampa Bay. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. The aquarium in downtown Houston spinning away. 6-2, the Rays lead the Astros. We go to the bottom of the 7th here. Fans still up for their 7th inning stretch.
I got to say, I'm going to launch if I take that ride.
Oh, yeah.
At that speed?
Just wait until afterwards for your seafood dinner.
I'm going prior,
okay,
just to make it a well-rounded event.
Jose Altuve leads it off. The Astros down by 4. He is 1 for 3. He singled to right in the 5th inning. Infield shifted around for Altuve, who smacks a liner caught by Longoria. He had about 0.2 of a second to get his glove up.
Well, that's back-to-back at-bats that Altuve just hangs out the line shot. Shoots one to right, now yanks this to left. And that's the Jose Altuve that won the batting title, as I refer to it again from last year. But this is nice to see him swinging it like this.
That's one out for Steve Geltz in relief of Erasmo Ramirez. Preston Tucker's 1 for 3. That's strike 1 to him. Ramirez in 5 2/3 innings allowed 6 hits, 2 runs, walking 2 and fanning 2. He's in line for win number 10 of the year. Foul tip makes it 0-2 on Tucker with Correa on deck. Baltimore beat Oakland 4-2 in Baltimore. Chris Tillman going to 9-7. Sonny Gray, the loser, is 12-5. Zach Britton got his 29th save. Gray, the ERA leader in the American League, giving up 4 runs but only 1 earned in 5 2/3. He has an ERA of 2.04. Foul ball. Sally able to hang on for the strikeout. Twins and Yankees are at 7-7 in the bottom of the 7th.
See that pre-splitter grip.
Foul back. Got some folks with the orange jerseys tonight.
Rainbows with the Jose Cruz on the back always went out.
To left field. Jennings 2 outs. And now Correa bats. Carlos is 1 for 3. Trevor Plouffe has hit his 18th home run tonight for the Twins. Aaron Hicks, number 8. Miguel Sano, number 8 as well. He started for the Yankees. Mitchell, we got a message on Twitter that he was hit by a line drive. That's why he came out in the second inning. Carlos Beltran hit another homer, his 13th. Ryan McCann belted number 21.
You've got a fountain of youth in New York somewhere.
Isn't that amazing? The Yankees are calling up rookies for the stretch drive.
They didn't go out and make all the trade deadline moves.
They brought up Severino and put him in the rotation. They have a couple of position players who are playing some. 1 ball, 1 strike. We'll get a chance to see them next week in New York. Monday night is that series opener. 1 ball, 2 strikes. St. Louis 2, San Francisco 1. They've just ended the 8th in St. Louis. Correa strikes out. It's a 1-2-3 7th. It's 6-2 Tampa Bay through 7.
Methodist. That's with Kevin Eschenfelder and Mike Stanley and his 4 rings.
Yeah. Folks checking their mobile devices. They know the score here is 6-2. Maybe they're checking in on other action somewhere else. 10 hits for the Rays, 6 for the Astros. The Rays come up here in the 8th inning. Tony Sipp had a 1-2-3 7. He stays in, and it's Daniel Nava batting. Nava's 2 for 3. Astros bullpen with a 2.79 ERA ranks among the best. There's strike 1. Coming into this game, the Astros had the lowest ERA in the American League, 3.45. Their ERA at home before tonight's game was 3.17. Tampa Bay got 4 in the first. Swing by Nava takes the count to 0-2. Yadier Molina hit his 3rd home run tonight for St. Louis. Michael Wacha went 7, giving up 1 run. Cardinals leading it 2-1 as the Giants bat in the 9th now against Trevor Rosenthal. He has 1 out.
St. Louis is 75-42, and Yadier Molina has just 3 dingers.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Matt Holliday's been hurt a couple different times. Still no balls, 2 strikes. San Diego 3, Atlanta nothing. There in the bottom of the 2nd at San Diego. Rick Stogstill has found a little baby in the stands.
She was transfixed on that beard.
Yeah. 1-2. Arizona wanted Pittsburgh 4-1 D-backs. Former Ray Jeremy Hellickson won. He's 9-8. He beat 14-game winner Garrett Cole. Brad Ziegler getting his 21st save. That's a strikeout. 4 in a row set down by Sip. 2 via strikeout.
Kind of a big hanger that gets back to catch the outside corner. It's kind of the pitch that most hitters are dying to see.
Hey, it's Kids World. Happy little guys. Kiermaier is 0 for 2 with a walk. Jake Lamb homered for Arizona tonight, his 5th of the year. We had Mike Lamb here over the weekend. Strike to Kiermaier.
And he didn't even come up to the booth to say hi.
He didn't, but he's really been a fan favorite during his years here, and it was great to see him come back. Little roller goes to first. Nobody, though, goes to the base. And that's an infield hit for Kiermaier.
I think Tony Sip had the right thought on this play. And if he had just gone ahead and done it, take that baseball and run it to the bag, I think he gets an out. But Valbuena was standing right in his path.
Valbuena's only played a few games at first base this year.
I got it. You take it.
Hit number 11 for the Rays.
Kiermaier can burn a bit, can't he?
Yeah. He moves around quite well. Casale's 0 for 3. Pedro Alvarez hit his 19th home run of the year for the Buccos tonight in the losing cause. So the Pirates, who are 39-19 at home, lost 4-1. They're going to have a tough task overtaking the Redbirds. Cubs are really having an excellent year too. Shot hooking and going foul. How about the Cubs on your radar screen of surprise teams this year?
I was just trying to evaluate that. They might be close to as large a surprise as the Astros.
Yeah.
It's a very different looking team than the one that broke camp for the Cubs.
Albert Pujols has homered for the Angels. They lead the White Sox 1-0 in the second. The 552nd home run for Pujols.
It's been a bit of a drought for Albert.
One ball and one strike.
That's a good job. That's a good job.
Danny Salazar in Cleveland beat Boston 8-2. Salazar goes to 11-6. Off the end of the bat, it goes to Colby Rasmus in right field. 2 outs. You think babies would respond differently if we didn't talk to them in baby talk?
They'd start college a lot sooner.
Two down, and it's Jaso batting now. Jaso had the RBI single in the 6th inning as a pinch hitter.
Yeah, we try the same trick with our pets, our dogs and cats and whatever, and it doesn't seem to work with them.
No, not at all. Ball 1 to Jaso. Vince Velasquez had a couple of scoreless innings in relief for Corpus Christi in yesterday's game.
I have a feeling we're going to see that fastball out of the Astros pen soon.
2 balls and no strikes. Well, all the major league clubs are going to be meeting, if they're not already doing so, at least having a conversation here and there, maybe around the batting cage, maybe in the office, about possibilities for September call-ups. This September will be quite different for the Astros than the last few regarding call-ups. In for a strike, and it's 2-1. Seattle failed to score in the top of the ninth. Now it goes to the bottom of the ninth. Tied 3-3, the Mariners and the Texas Rangers. Jaso started the bat, and he took ball 3. Fernando Rodney is pitching now for Seattle.
Has he got the quiver loaded?
He's got the quiver loaded, but it's not a save opportunity. The Rays are loaded up in their bullpen as well. They have 3 lefties. And, he had him leaning a little bit, but then Jaso got back. Rangers have a runner on first and nobody out right now. And Delino DeShields is batting. White Sox just scored in the top of the 3rd. It's 1-1 as they play the Angels in Anaheim. Jaso takes a walk. 2 on, 2 outs now for Jennings. Jennings singled in the 5th. He's 1 for 4. Carlos Rodon pitching for the White Sox against Andrew Heaney tonight. Pujols home run off Rodon, his 32nd of the year. That should be a spirited battle for the home run lead. Nelson Cruz has 36 right now. Chris Davis 34. Mike Trout 33. Jennings takes it. Strike 1. Jennings chased that. No balls, 2 strikes. Oliver Perez getting loose for Houston. So it's Perez and Sip, the left-handers now in the Astros bullpen. We might be seeing Joe Thatcher in the month of September. He's now at AAA. He was up here earlier, as you know. Struck him out. No runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, 6-2 Tampa Bay. as the orange-clad crowd looks on. We have some changes for Mr. Cash. Kevin Cash will go with pitcher number 3. Brandon Gomes, he's 1-4 with a 4.08 ERA. And Daniel Nava has moved to right field from first base with James Loney, the Houston-born first baseman, checking in at that spot.
Brandon Gomes, 31 years of age. Been around the major leagues now. Parts of 5 seasons, 10-10 lifetime in the big leagues. And this year, allowing just under a hit an inning. He's got a whip that's approaching 1.2 for Tampa Bay.
It'll be Lowry, Gomez, and Rasmus due up for Houston in the 8th. Loney gives the Rays an experienced good glove at first now, trying to protect this 4-run lead in the late innings. Lowry is 0 for 3. There's Loney, and Nava has moved now to right field from first base, replacing Jaso in right. Third different right fielder utilized by Kevin Cash tonight. There's strike 1 for Gomes. He turned 31 in mid-July. He's from Fall River, Massachusetts. Lives in Dallas and went to Tulane University. The Green Wave. It's 1-1. Milwaukee's batting in the bottom of the ninth, trailing Miami 6-2. Shift is on, giving Lowry all kinds of room on the left side of the infield. He backs away, and it's ball 2. Tampa Bay has the statistical approach in the front office and has been doing the shifting thing for years. A lot of data. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Texas Rangers have the bases loaded and 1 out as they try to win the game in the bottom of the 9th. They're tied 3-3 with Seattle. This one heads for shallow left center field and is caught by the third sacker out there. Was that Cabrera?
Oh, that was Longoria.
Longoria, he got it.
Your typical third baseman in shallow center field for the catch.
You don't normally see that, but Longoria showed a lot of range.
Yeah, he's pretty slick. Very nice athletic move. They're already smiling, watching the play be made.
1 down, Longoria showing his range, and now it's Gomez. Carlos 1 for 3, a bunt single. Rasmus is on deck. Strike 1 for Gomes. Big cut, and it's 0-2. We've seen a lot of swings like that from Mr. Gomez.
It's kind of what batting practice is made of right now.
Texas won at 4-3. Adrian Beltre drew a walk with the bases loaded to force in the winning run. Gomez strikes out. 2 outs. So if the Astros don't win this game, their lead over Texas will be 3 games.
Tight little slider. And that big swing tends to struggle on that slider down and away.
The Rangers are now 60-57. The Astros 64-54.
Yeah, I think they're officially on the radar now.
They sure are. You know the Angels think so. Rasmus fouls it away, strike 1. The Angels tied 1-1 with the White Sox after 3. If the Angels don't win, they will move behind Texas. They'll be a half game behind the Rangers. right now they're tied. Foul away. 0-2.
That looked like Colby Rasmus trying to shoot the other way.
It did.
Beat that shift the Rays have on.
Gomes pitched 29 times last year with a 3.71 ERA. Gaddis is on deck. In the dirt, ball one. Now 2-2 to Colby. Well, the Rangers now, since the All-Star break, are 18-11. Astros are 15-12. Angels are 12-17. Struck him out looking. We go to the ninth inning, 6-2 Tampa Bay. He's pitcher number 4 for A.J. Hinch. In 51 games, he's 2-1 with a 2.87 ERA. 3 games as an Astro after they picked him up, and he is really going to be a vital guy from the left side in this bullpen in the late innings.
And showing a fastball still in that lower mid-90s kind of a range. Guy out of Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico, 34 years of age.
He was acquired from Arizona August 7th in exchange for left-handed pitcher Junior Garcia. He's gone 2/3 of an inning or less in his first 3 outings with the Astros, and that's the plan for him. Apparently will be asked to face 3 batters here in the 9th inning so as not to use another pitcher. But it's not going to be unusual to see him face 1 or 2 batters quite a bit. Part of that is A, he's very effective against left-handed batters, and B, it keeps him in play for a lot of appearances.
And if you're old enough to remember Louis Tion, you'll enjoy watching this guy.
Oh, those guys remember Louis Tion.
El Tiante.
Evan Longoria is 2 for 4. He fouls it away. There's strike 1. Forsythe and Cabrera due to follow. Well, the Rangers win after they swept Tampa Bay at home over the weekend. Gives them an 8-game home winning streak, their longest of the season at home. Oh, 2 to Longoria.
Yankees are batting in the bottom of the ninth, tied 7-7 with the Twins. Foul back, and that keeps it at 0-2. That Twins club has been dropping back. 12 games behind in the AL Central when play began tonight. And in the wild card, a game and a half behind second place Baltimore. On through into left center field. Longoria has a single. 3 hits tonight for Longoria.
Shoots it right through shortstop. El Tiante makes an appearance, and that heater gets drilled.
Longoria has just feasted on left-handed pitching. And he has had his share of hits in this ballpark. He's continued that trend tonight. Forsythe has a single and 2 walks, also a strikeout. Toward the right field corner, Rasmus legging it back. And he stops and drops the ball now. Here's Longoria getting into second. Colby overran it, reached back, got his glove on it, but did not hold it.
Well, you won't see that very often. That's all about kind of watching towards second base, trying to get rid of a throw quickly and maybe taking his eyes off the baseball. It's a very good outfielder that had this happen.
Yeah. Third error of the year for Rasmus. Ball glanced off his body then. Cabrera the batter. That's strike 1 to him. Cabrera's driven in 2 tonight. He's gone 1 for 3 with a sac fly. They moved to the 10th at Yankee Stadium, tied at 7. Twins would be one of those surprise teams for you, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would be. Hung in there for a good long while this year. Paul Molitor obviously putting in quite an effort.
Well, those 2 teams playing tonight. And the Bronx Twins and Yankees will be the opponents for the Astros in reverse order on the road trip opening a week from tonight at Yankee Stadium. They'd love to make this a terrific homestand to lead into that trip. Gaddis, Valbuena, Castro due up in the bottom of the ninth. That one goes foul. With the Giants losing 2-1 at St. Louis, they are still trying to make a move on the Dodgers. They were 2.5 back before the night started in the NL West. Still 0-2 to Cabrera. What was your vibe as you saw the Astros meet the Giants? Do you see them blazing a trail to get back to the playoffs this year?
Wouldn't be surprised. They're on that lengthy run with sellouts in San Francisco, over 380 now. And they've got such great support. Bruce Bochy is a wily, crafty skipper. And they've got some talent.
One and 2. Let's see if we can sort this out, Ash.
Well, the Dodgers lead in the West. It's not the Giants' year if you want to go by the even year thing that's seen the Giants win the World Series in even years over the last 5 years. But it's a 2-team race there, and the Pirates are a good club, as are the Cubbies.
Up the middle, and that'll get Longoria home. Gomez will throw in, and it's 7-2. Cabrera drives in his 3rd of the night. He just continues to sizzle at the plate.
5-run lead for Tampa Bay.
Now, this is not the kind of inning that Oliver Perez was looking for coming in here. His stuff's been good. There's the third base coach going all the way down the line.
Runners at first and second now, and Tampa Bay looks for more, leading by 5. Charlie Montoyo is the third base coach. Tim Beckham with strike 1. He ripped a 3-run homer to the Landry's Crawford boxes back in the first. He's 1 for 4. Kevin Segrist wanted for the Cardinals in relief of Michael Wacha tonight. Trevor Rosenthal got his 37th save. Foul back, and it's 0-2.
Mike Matheny, obviously, year after year now doing big jobs with the Cardinals. I think sometimes the perception is when people think, well, these guys will win again, manager doesn't get credit, but boy, he's done a great job.
Foul ball. It was a seamless transition with Tony La Russa handing over the reins to Matheny.
Was it ever? And I'm not so sure they haven't gotten better under Mike Matheny.
Crazy, isn't it? As good as they were under Tony.
Tony's doing a job getting the Diamondbacks back to respectability.
Yes, he has. He and Dave Stewart. That's where the Astros will end the season, at Arizona. Foul ball. Keeps the count at 0-2. 15 pitches for Oliver Perez so far. Looking for his first out. The Cardinals are 45-18 at home.
Love for somebody to come up with the logic for home numbers like that.
Yeah. 1-2.
That was a pretty close pitch. Castro sets up in, has to reach back the other way, and tries to bring it back in.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Line's in the water, but Joe West isn't biting.
Oh, no. 16,256 the paid attendance. In the air, softly hit. Altuve looks out to Rasmus, but Jose will make the catch. Infield fly. 1 out. But the infielder has to be under the ball to get that infield fly call.
It's a bit of a drift job.
Yeah. Well, you know, that brings up a point. What if a smart infielder chose not to get underneath the ball?
That is
so he can get a double play.
Drop it, set up the chance.
Yeah. You don't get under it, but you're drifting, and then you pick it up on one bounce, wheel and throw to second, throw to first. If the batter's not running hard, double play.
There you go, always thinking.
But who's going to do that, right? They could take a bad bounce, and you might not get anybody out. Daniel Nava's 2 for 4. It's a shot by a diving Correa into center field. Here's Gomez throwing to the plate. The runner stops at third. It's off Valbuena's mitt, and the bases are loaded. A sharply hit ball by Nava, his 3rd hit. He attacked that baseball.
Got caught looking last time, and I think he went up there thinking, okay, time to swing the stick. And he typically has not been a good right-hand hitter. All-out effort, doesn't matter what the score is.
Bases loaded, 1 out. 14 hits for the Rays. Kiermaier is 1 for 3 with a walk. Scott Feldman's going to be facing a hot ball club tomorrow night. In terms of hitting, they were swept over the weekend, but they have just really been on the ball here in the month of August. There's ball 1.
Yeah, this might speak to how well the Rangers are playing at the moment.
It's 2 balls, no strikes. Well, the Rays, even though they were swept, out-hit the Rangers in that series. That is extremely unusual. The first time they were ever swept in a 3-game series and out-hit the opposition since 2013. 2 balls and a strike. Seven, 14, and 2 for the Rays. 2, 6, and 1 for the Astros. It's 2 and 2. Casali on deck. Jake Odorizzi pitching tomorrow night for Tampa Bay is 6 and 6 with a 3.09 ERA. Fouled.
The start of this season, there was all the talk about speeding up the game, and it seemed that the games around Major League Baseball were speeding up a bit, but here in the second half, or at some point, it seems that it's gone back to the old standard.
Popped up. Lowry. 2 outs. Well, you know the September games will be slower with additional personnel available for the managers to make more pitching changes.
17 guys in the bullpen tonight, and 3/4 of them get in the game.
Casali will bat. He's 0 for 4. We'll have to see if A.J. Hinch likes what was proposed. I believe Brad Mills talked about it when he was the Houston skipper, and others have come up with a concept of a different kind of September baseball. Allow the call-ups the way they're allowed now. Expand the rosters, but designate 25 players to be used in each game.
I like it.
And only 25.
I like it. Baseball is not inclined to like to change rules. So I don't know if they'd be inclined to move in that direction, but I like that very much.
I do too. Because it's a different game in September than it is in the other 5 months. The shot off the glove of Perez on through into center. 2 runs are scoring to make it 9-2 on the 2-run single by Casali. It gives him 16 runs batted in. The Rays are just ripping the ball here in the 9th.
Well, Casali just turned his night around with that swing. He had a rough night with the bat, but suddenly a hit and a couple of ribbies.
That's 4 hits plus an error in the inning. And these are Rockets. Now James Loney comes up for the first time. He entered the game as a defensive replacement at first base. Loney, the Houston native who went to Elkins High School, has hit .273 this season with 4 homers, 23 runs batted in. There's strike 1. Well, earlier this season when the Yankees came in, we saw Chris Young do what he normally does and just go off here in this ballpark. And Loney also does that. He's a .315 hitter at Minute Maid Park. No balls, 2 strikes. Loney is 1 homer away from 100 in his major league career. In August, he's hit .357.
Chris Young, by the way, has put together a pretty nice season for
really
the Yankees.
Has. Yep.
13 dingers, .253 with 18 doubles.
Loney looks at it, and it's a 1-2 count now. It's been a fertile area for developing major league talent. Houston area.
Been a good player for a good long while. His feet don't seem to be overly comfortable at the moment.
Struck him out. 3 runs across the plate in the 9th inning for the Rays on 4 hits with 1 error and 2 men left. 9-2 Tampa Bay.
Put it up and away, and there's your what a play. As Evans slams his 17th long ball of the year. Oppo tried to get the Astros going with the bat. We're going to need some serious stirring offensively here in the 9th.
Rookie left-hander Enny Romero comes out of the bullpen to work the bottom of the 9th inning. This is his 4th stint with the Rays this season. Recalled today from AAA Durham. 5 games earlier, a 7.84 ERA. For 10 innings for this 24-year-old lefty from the Dominican Republic. Jake Marisnick is on deck. Evan Gattis looks at ball 1. Gattis with that home run you just saw. Also has an infield hit. He's 2 for 3 tonight. It's 2-0. Gomes had a 1-2-3-8 with 2 strikeouts.
Romero wants to get to business out there on the hill.
He does. Unfortunately, he's not able to throw a strike, and his business is a 3-0 pitch coming up. And it's a 4-pitch walk. Gattis draws his 18th base on balls of the season. Marisnick is pinch hitting for Valbuena. Jake came up with a big triple and scored the winning run yesterday on the single by Altuve. Jake going 1 for 4 in that game against Detroit. Chris Carter comes out to the on-deck circle with Jason Castro due up next. Marisnick is hitting .227. Strike 1 to him. As a pinch hitter, Jake is 0 for 3. That one goes back out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Jake was 2 for 5 in that Tigers series. is alive at 0-2. It's still 1-1. White Sox and Angels, middle of the fourth in Anaheim. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Some people will be staying up late watching you and Blummer on those West Coast trips in September, Ash.
And you're going to be among them.
You bet. Pennant race time, baby. Orisnik strikes out. Number 7 for the Rays pitching staff in this game.
Yeah, brings it up there pretty well. 97-98 here in the inning.
He does. Chris Carter pinch hits for Jason Castro, who was 0 for 2 with a walk. Carter, a 182 hitter with 17 homers, has 49 runs batted in. He is 0 for 6 pinch hitting. There's strike 1 to Carter. He was 1 for 5 with an RBI in that Detroit series. Yesterday, he drew a walk and scored a run, going 0 for 3 as the first baseman. One ball and 1 strike. Carter has started 87 times at first base and 7 at DH this year. 13 of his 17 homers have come at home. 1-2. Carter has 44 homers at Minute Maid Park. That's 8th the all-time list at this venue. It's 2-2. Richard Hidalgo is in 7th with 2 more than Chris. Richard had 44 in the first year of this ballpark. Foul back. The Rays could get back to 500 by winning this game. They would be 59-59. And they would be 19-12 against first place teams this year. 3-2. They would also be 4-0 against the Astros, with 6 consecutive wins overall dating back to last year against Houston. Carter fouls it back with Altuve on deck. Strike 3. 2 outs. Altuve is next. He's 1 for 4. Marwin Gonzalez comes out to the on-deck circle. Preston Tucker would be due up next. That's ball 1. Altuve has hit the ball squarely tonight. Nice line drive single in the 5th inning to right field. He scalded a liner to Longoria in the 7th. Longoria backing up now at 3rd. 1-1.
We were seeing nothing but the fastball, and all of a sudden he bends one there.
Foul away, and it's 1-2. Foul ball, 3rd base side for Altuve. It's 2-2 to Jose Altuve. Up the right field line and headed for the seats. And out of play. That for passing the ball around.
Apparently they're not aware of the cost of baseballs these days.
Evidently not. Three balls, 2 strikes. Now Evan Gattis will take off on the next pitch.
There's a serious fan.
Yep.
Crossing all the fingers.
Altuve grounds off Longoria on through into left field. Longo might have taken that one on his bare hand. The way he's reacting to it. Gattis over to third, and that ball was hit squarely by Altuve.
I would say over this past handful of games, maybe a week, Altuve is swinging the bat better than he has anywhere during the season, going back to that first torrid month or so on the season. Really getting good hacks and hitting the ball sharply.
He pulled that 98-mile-per-hour heater. That's probably going to be ruled a hit, right?
Certainly should be in my book.
It is a hit. 2 hits for Altuve tonight. And it's Marwin Gonzalez pinch hitting for Tucker now. Margot, a .267 hitter, has 7 homers, 25 runs batted in. 2 for 13 pinch hitting. That's ball 1 to him. Tucker was 1 for 4 tonight. Gonzalez has hit .298 as a right-handed batter. .479 slugging right-handed. Out to left center field. And it's caught by Kiermaier to end the ball game. Tampa Bay is 4-0 against Houston so far this season. The Rays win it 9-2 in game 1 of a 4-game series.